On SportsGrid.
Ferrall has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. All right, hour two of Coast to Coast on a Thursday. Ferrall with Carver High here in New York City, getting ready for the NFL draft. But we're still talking about the NBA playoffs. And it's simple, Mike. I think the Lakers either win tonight at home at the Crypt in Lipstick City, or they're getting swept.
Seems like that's the options, right? I don't believe that they would give much resistance in a Game 4 if they lost tonight. I think that this would be the end of the road. They're just going to go down, not being able to beat this team over a 2-year stretch, pretty much. We mentioned before the break the AD comments at the end of Game 2 about guys out on the floor not knowing what they're doing, basically taking the shot at the coaching staff. Let's hear what Darvin Ham has to think of those comments.
I mean, I just think sometimes when plays don't turn out the way you think they should, and you know, the frustration sets in a little bit, but I don't think it's for us not being organized. I mean, I think I have incredibly talented coaches all along my staff, and we pride ourselves, whether it's a practice, a shoot around, a film session, a game, whatever, we pride ourselves on being, you know, highly efficient and organized. And so I just chalk that up to being frustrated. You know, it's an emotional game and the way it ended and all of that, but, you know, I'll agree to disagree on that one.
Yeah, they don't listen to him. So there's no way that you can tell me that LeBron James and Anthony Davis listen to Darvin Ham ever, or his assistants. I mean, like, let's face facts. Flip a coin, LeBron or AD, which one runs the team? Because it sure ain't Ham.
No, it's not Ham. And honestly, listening to him there, that tells me he hasn't even talked to him about it. He hasn't even talked to him about it. I'll agree to disagree. So he ain't even going to bring it up to him. You want to know why? Because he doesn't run the team, like you just said. LeBron and AD run the team. So he ain't even going to – he heard it. That wasn't the first time it was brought to his attention, was yesterday when the reporters asked him.
How much money he makes? And he just sits there and says, bro, don't even come near me.
But we know what he was upset about. We said it the whole time yesterday. The dude was 14 and 19 from the floor. He had 32 points, and he didn't touch the ball in the last quarter. That's what he's upset about, and rightfully so.
Yeah, and Darvin did a great job, with his staff, that they're always preparing. So they prepared to not give the guy the ball that was dominating the game and scoring all their points. They decided as a staff, we're very organized. You heard him. We're very organized. Yeah, organization of nothing. They literally never gave him the ball once in the fourth quarter, and they lost. That's why they lost. They lost because they didn't get Davis the ball. He scores ad nauseum inside. When he misses, he gets his own putback. The guy is a menace to society. Give him the ball. You give him all the money. Why wouldn't you give him the ball? It's insanity.
Give him the rock. Give him the rock. Here we go for tonight. Game number 3 at the Crypto.com arena. Lakers now 1.5-point favorites over the Nuggets. Lakers minus 1.5 with a 216.5 total.
I bet him. I got him at 1, and I bet the over, and I took one more chance with him. I covered in the last game. They just lost. Yeah. So I'm going to go to the well with them one more time. I just think that it is amazing to me that they lost that game. When you have it and you're that close and you have it slip through your fingers, you've got to go out and win this game tonight and make it go away, because that will never go away. That Game 2 loss will be their season if they don't win tonight. I'm going to take a shot with a -1 and over.
I'm going to go with you one more time down the road. Let's see if they can finally beat this team.
Right.
They've been – you take the 2 games – what have they been the better team in? 80% of the games so far? If you took the 2 games combined, they just have been awful in the fourth quarter. They didn't play well in the second half in Game 1. They blew a 20-point lead in Game 2. Let's see if they can get it done at home. Most bet player props: the Joker over 8.5 assists, Joker triple-double. LeBron over 16.5 assists and rebounds. LeBron over 8.5 assists, and Michael Porter Jr. over 7.5 boards. The most bet player props for tonight.
I like 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's a LeBron night, right? Is that not? It's a LeBron night. He gonna take over a little bit tonight, have himself a big number. I could see it.
Yeah.
27, 11, and 10, maybe even a triple-double for LeBron in this game. See him get some very, very big numbers for the Lake Show there late night for game number 3. All right, there you go. One last NBA note. Of course, they're giving out these awards every night. Last night was Naz Reid of the Timberwolves. He won the 6th Man of the Year, Scotty. Some people were upset about that. They thought that Malik Monk was going to win.
Yeah, not me. We've been on this show saying Naz for 2 months and on betting above the rim. Watching that guy pouring in threes all year for the T-Wolves, making them another step higher as a team. Like, it's always been about, Ann Edwards and Gobert and Cat Towns. And then all of a sudden, here comes McDaniels, and here comes this guy, Naz Reid, jacking threes and hitting them over 40%. I thought he was phenomenal all year. I understand the great season that Monk put up in Sacramento, but I think Monk's a great player. There's no getting around it. But I just thought what Naz did in Minnesota, it took that team, for me, to another level. Having those 2 extra pieces on that team score that many points per game. You saw what McDaniels did the other night. He had 25. And then you saw what Naz Reid did all season long. He did that every night. He was jacking threes every night and just burying shots and making them a better team.
Certainly was. We'll see them again, of course, tomorrow night for a Game 3 in Phoenix against the Suns.
Mike, I'm sorry. My point is strictly that for Monk, I did not think he made Sacramento better. I thought that they were average at best this year. I thought they were way better last year. And they were a play-in team this year that barely made it. If you're so good and you're so 6th man and you do all these things, look at what he did. They got him into the play-in barely. And look what Naz Reid did. I mean, all year long, they were 1 or 2 in the West. They were one of the best teams in basketball all year long because of that piece, Reid, what he gave them. What Monk gave them was show-off time, and they never won. They were barely in the playoffs. As a play-in, you barely make it. That's just all there is to it. That play-in tournament is the most phony thing in the world. It's teams that didn't make it that the NBA makes them make it. They're like, these teams suck, but what we're going to do is we're going to make them not suck and let them pretend like they're playoff teams. That's what the Sacramento Kings are. They were a pretend playoff team. And Monk's numbers didn't equate to Jack Shack. That's it. I'm right.
You bring that up. I've seen some people over the last week or so start banging the drum that the NHL should do a play-in thing like the NBA does for their last couple spots in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. Because why not ruin what's really the best first round in sports already, right? The NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. Why not ruin it by having them play play-in games? Why not?
How about there's nothing wrong with the NHL except the names of the new team in Utah, the Yetis.
the Yetis, the Ice, Mr. Freeze, the Hockey
Blizzard.
Club, whatever they're going to call it, the Blizzard. We got to get a name out there. Find a better name for those guys. The Venom, I think, is also one of them. All right, we'll come back and we'll get into
How many teams are called the Venom in sports? At least 1,000.
The Venom. We do have some finals in baseball. Cleveland beat the Red Sox. Twins beat the White Sox. The White Sox are embarrassing. Phillies beat the Reds. Padres are up 4-1. They just got underway in D.C., Scotty, with the Dodgers and the Nationals with Yamamoto.
That'll be ugly within the hour.
It will be ugly within the hour. I agree.
people that bashed him will be eating their words this year.
Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
So I turned it off. I got my sweat done, and I'm leaving. I'm taking my money. I'm going home, and I don't want to talk to you for the rest.
Oh, yes!
There it is.
6-3. Cash the over. The over is hit. The Padres are our heroes.
That's how we end the show.
Oh, well, let's just sign off. Let's just call it a show.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
I think they're looking for a space where they can be comfortable, perhaps make some NIL money in the process, but be better set up long-term as opposed to it being 1 year jumping around.
You want to kind of get your core players that have been there a couple of years, and then go get the high-profile recruit and then supplement at the transfer portal.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Ferrall coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
I was going to say something really funny right now, but I think the red phone will ring. So I'm going to refrain from saying it because I know my comedy and their sense of humor at the top of the company are two different islands, and you have to take a Jimmy boat from one island to the next. You cannot swim to the other island. Otherwise, the red phone will ring.
How about instead we talk about the hockey?
Everybody loves hockey.
Everybody does love hockey, especially the Toronto fans, right? As they lose at home to the Bruins last night. Now, we'll set this up for you here. This was a good game. It's a 2-1 Bruin lead. There's just under 10 minutes left to go in the third period. Bertuzzi scores, Scotty, to get the game even at 2 with under 10 minutes to go. Place is going nuts in Toronto. Everybody's going crazy. 30 seconds later, Brad Marchand does it again on ESPN.
Bertuzzi tip was heading toward the corner, but it hit Lindholm's like, Marchand scores! Boston responds immediately. Brad Marchand makes it 3-2.
Yeah, he is such a pain in the ass, this guy. He is undoubtedly... He reminds me of Ken Linsman, the Rat. He's just painful. He's everywhere. He always has the puck. And I don't disagree. I think he's a dirty player, and I think he gets away with murder. And because he's, 4 foot tall, so everybody feels sorry for him with his puny ass. And then meanwhile, he's out there playing like he's 6'4". He's chopping people's hands off, ankles. He takes slashes to a whole new level, cross checks. He's one of the dirtiest players in the NHL, and he gets away with murder. I agree with Keefe. Play it.
Yeah, here's Sheldon Keefe. He agrees with you, that's for sure.
In the league long enough, as you can see, he gets calls. It's unbelievable, actually. How it goes.
I agree.
But we got to play through that. You got to play through that stuff. I don't think there's another player in this series that gets away with taking out Bertuzzi's legs the way that he does. There's not one other player in the series that gets away with that, but he does. Because, it's an art, and he's elite at it.
I'll tell you what, Mike, he's right. And let me say this. It is an art, and he's way better at it than anyone on that team. I have to say, they really are hairdryer city. It is beyond reproach to me, the litany of failures that this hockey organization puts forth every spring. I mean, they are an utter catastrophe failure waiting to happen. This series is now over. They're done. Put a fork in them. They tie up the series in Boston and then go home and lose and got their ass beat last night. That's what happened. It was 2-2 and then boom, 3-2, then the empty netter. I mean, they got their ass beat. All the corners they own, Boston. They own the neutral zone. They own both ends of the ice. They were more physical. They went after everything. Mike, you saw it. They were flat out better than the Leafs. The Leafs are awful. They're never going to win anything ever. They're just an absolute laughing stock in the NHL. They cannot beat the Boston Bruins. That's just it. It's over.
Here's the problem for the Leafs, Scotty, also. They are a team that is so built on their power play, right? They score a lot of power play goals throughout the year. They get, that is their bread and butter. They have a great power play unit, Matthews, Marner,
right,
etc. When you get into the playoffs, A, you don't get as many power plays because
right,
the refs just don't call as many penalties. And B, when you do get them, you're playing the best teams in the league that more often than not, they're the best at killing the penalties. And
right,
the Leafs had a couple of power plays in that third period, including one very late, Scotty, where they were applying some pressure. They had some opportunities, but the Bruins are very good on the kill, and they were able to snuff it out. And that's where it's different in the playoffs. You're not getting 4, 5, 6 power play opportunities a game and cashing in on 2 or 3 of them. Right. You have to take all of those chances that you get and to be able to put those in. All right, so here's the series for this. Minus 275 for Boston now, up 2-1, plus 225 for Toronto. They will play Game 4 Saturday night back there at the Maple Leaf Gardens.
Remember what I said. The Celtics will probably do the same thing the Bruins did. Go on the road when no one thinks they will, and they'll beat the Heat on Saturday like the Bruins beat the Leafs last night. I think the Bruins are going to win the series. I wanted the Leafs badly. I bet on them in Game 2, bet on them in Game 3, hit Game 2, lost Game 3. I've lost a lot of faith in them. What I watched last night was a team that doesn't know how to beat the Boston Bruins.
That's precisely what you watched. And yes, it's the Scotiabank. I'll always call any arena in that town the Maple Leaf Gardens, Scotty, because that's the old school way of calling it everything.
That's right.
Dallas was against the wall at home against the Vegas Golden Knights. They lost game number 1.
What a bunch
Needed
of bikers.
to even the series. You talk about bikers. They played great in the first period. They were swarming all over them. There's a problem, though. They only scored 1 goal. And when they did score, they let Vegas score 90 seconds later and tie the game at 1. And then they let them hang around long enough for this to happen. Noah Hannafin on Vegas Golden Knights Radio.
Left wing, drop pass for Whitecloud. Spins down the left boards. Left circle on his backhand. Put it through the blue ice. Nobody home. Waugh was tied up by Lindell in front. Now Carrier out in front for Waugh. He couldn't get a shot away. Now it's Hannafin. He shoots. He scores! Noah Hannafin follows up his first career playoff goal. The Knights take a 2-1 lead with 1:07 to go in the second period.
I mean, Bob Wischusen would have called that so much better. But let me just say that, Hannafin, not only did they get him, he scored, they gave him a new deal. He's happy now. Now he's out winning games for him. Marcia Stroh, a guy that's been there since the jump, he had a goal. I thought Thompson played great in goal. And now you can put a fork in the Dallas Stars. The Stanley Cup champs have them on the ropes, and they're going to Vegas for the next 2. And the bottom line is that the Knights, despite being an 8, that's the difference between the NHL and the NBA. The NBA, the 8s all suck. In the NHL, we've seen the LA Kings win as an 8, and you might see the Vegas Golden Knights win it all as an 8. They won the Cup last year. They are clearly, unequivocally better than the Dallas Stars. It is amazing to me that Dallas played phenomenally well all year, one of the best teams in the NHL, and now they can't even score goals at all.
people that bashed him will be eating their words this year.
Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
So I turned it off. I got my sweat done, and I'm leaving. I'm taking my money. I'm going home, and I don't want to talk to you for the rest.
Oh, yes!
There it is.
6-3. Cash the over. The over is hit. The Padres are our heroes.
That's how we end the show. That's how we end the show.
Oh, well, let's just sign off. Let's just call it a show.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
I think they're looking for a space where they can be comfortable, perhaps make some NIL money in the process, but be better set up long-term as opposed to it being 1 year jumping around.
You want to kind of get your core players that have been here a couple of years, and then go get the high-profile recruit and then supplement at the transfer portal.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad, bad, bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Ferrall coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, I want to hear Carver High, the stuff of legend, Carver High, of course.
Yeah.
But I want to hear Pete DeBoer. How's he going to talk his way out of this box?
Well, the problem for Peter DeBoer is, Scotty, you know he hates Vegas because they fired him. That's one of the teams that's let Peter DeBoer go right before they won a cup. And now they simply can't beat him. The Knights beat him last year in the Western Conference Final. They beat him up in the regular season. It's like the Lakers and the Nuggets, really.
Yeah.
They just can't get past them. All right, Pete, what are we going to do?
You've lost 5 straight to them, 9 of the last 11 going back to last playoff series. Does it feel in a way like they kind of have you figured out?
Well,
gee, you think?
They're the Stanley Cup champions. They've got everyone figured out. They figured out everyone last year, too, right? So we're not alone on that boat.
Yeah, you got that right, Coach. It sounds like rough sailing.
Rough sailing indeed. If you think that the Stars can win 4 out of 5 with 3 of those games being in Vegas, plus 350 is what you will pay for that, Scotty. If you think that, honestly, I think it should be more. I don't think that's enough for me. I think the number should be even higher for them to pull off a task like that, to win 4 out of 5 with 3 games.
I would agree with you. I think that they are going to be in absolute desperation mode in Game 3. It is their last chance at anything. They have to win that game. No, I know that sounds crazy. It's too easy to say. No, it isn't. They can't get out of their own way, but they have to find a way to win that game in Vegas. There's 3 games in Vegas. Frankly, if you ask me, they got to win 2 of them. They got to win 2 of them if they expect to have any shot at all. If they go and lose, obviously, Game 3, it's over. It is over. But if they go win Game 3, it opens the door a little bit. There's a crack, and there's the, chance in hell that it could happen. Dallas is a really good team, and Vegas has basically shut them down.
That's it. And the final game of the night, in overtime, we had the Kings and the Oilers. No chance for the Kings last night, right? Anze Kopitar says, yes, there was. There was a chance on Sportsnet.
Into the Kings zone, backhand attempt was blocked, and he's written hard down on the boards and onto the ice by Mikey Anderson. Anderson now has the puck. Here's Kopitar with an opportunity, and he scores! The Kings captain, Anze Kopitar, the overtime hero for LA, and the Kings steal game 2, 5-4 final score.
Bob Wischusen would have called it better. That's plus 162, baby. I got to tell you, that guy sounded like a chick. Honestly, can we get somebody in there with some stones to call the game? I don't care who it is. I'm not nice. Never have been, never will be. You got to get Bob to call these games. They can't have these chicks calling the game. Oh, what a goal! Yay! Oh, girly man! Oh.
As much as we would like it, we can't have Bob. Bob can't call every game. As much as we would like him to, we just can't have him at every game. That's the hard part about it. Bob's right about that. Kenny would make it to all the games. Finally, they go 1-1 back to Los Angeles now.
That's a great call.
Tomorrow.
Kenny Albert would have called every single game.
He would have made every game. Minus 175 for the Oilers. This is for the series. And now the Kings plus 145 with it 1-1 going back to LA.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm very interested in the LA Kings upsetting the Oilers. You know, there's nothing better, I think, than watching the Oilers and Leafs lose every year. There's nothing better than that in hockey. There really isn't. There's nothing better.
They're so tortured. They really are. It's amazing. We have only 2 games tonight. Fail. It's like NBA lads, fail. Only 2 games. And they're at the same time, basically, which makes no sense either.
Oh, it's even
Couldn't
worse.
Even spread it out. Couldn't even spread it out a little bit.
I can't even watch them separately.
You can't even watch them separately. In fact, I need more than 30 seconds on the Islanders and the Hurricanes. So I'm going to wait until after you talk to Coach and Davis to give you all the numbers for tonight. We have the Islanders at the horse track trying to stay up, get themselves a game in this series.
Morency,
and then we have Tampa.
Islanders.
I heard that. And we also have Tampa and Florida with Waldo in the building there in Tampa at Amalie to try to get the Lightning a win. So we have that going on later.
And I think he saw the Rays win last night. He's going to see the Lightning win tonight. But you gave up on your hockey team already. You said they're dead
they're
already.
Not winning the series.
Tonight they're winning.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
You're not going to get the Tiger Woods size audience. Because do you know where they went? They went to Caitlin Clark. That's where those people went.
What?
Those people are now going to the WNBA. Yeah. The fan that only watches what's hot, the fan, the casual who doesn't really like sports but likes to be involved in the in thing, they're watching
water cooler discussion.
They're watching Caitlin Clark.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
So I turned it off. I got my sweat done, and I'm leaving. I'm taking my money. I'm going home, and I don't want to talk to you for the rest.
Oh, yes!
There it is.
6-3. Catch the over. The over is hit. The Padres are our heroes.
That's how we end the show. That's how we end the show.
Oh, well, let's just sign off. Let's just call it a show.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
People that bashed him will be eating their words this year.
Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
He just tossed an air ball, like in a critical. You're up by 2 with 20 seconds left. He said, give me the ball, LeBron James, and tossed an air ball. And there was AD under the bucket fighting everybody, and he ends up going to the free throw line. They used Tavares as a friggin' pinata tonight. Dude, I know you're old, but get it together. This is your last run at something, man. This is your career, bro. Don't go out like this. Oh, it's hard watching this.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. The brighter the lights, the bigger the stakes. Hunt or be hunted. Know your prey. This is a whole new jungle. This is The Lion's Share. Brought to you by BetMGM.
You know, you can get a 50% MLB same game parlay boost token for tonight's action. Minimum 3+ legs, plus 400 odds to be eligible for the boost token. Go to BetMGM's mobile app or betmgm.com for more details and how to get your token. Coach James Young joins us on The Lion's Share, and you see him all the time on Coast to Coast every day and on Betting Above the Rim and the Betting Above the Rim podcast, the Early Line, Game Time Decisions. He's doing a transfer portal show. And, Coach, I want to say, first of all, I haven't seen you since the loss of your mother. Condolences to your whole family. I know how that feels. Having lost my parents, lost my mother as a child to breast cancer. So I feel horrible for you and your family. Our thoughts went out to you, and I certainly hope you got through it okay.
Thanks, Scotty. You know, my mom gave us a perfect day to bury her yesterday, but my mom was a big fan of the network, big fan of you and the stuff that we do together. And she wants me to get down to business. So we still got rack, Ferrall. Unfortunately, basketball never stops, and I need basketball more than ever right now.
Yeah, I'll bet. So in honor of that, you're going to the Ferrall's Fargo Center in Philadelphia tonight for Game 3 between the Sixers and Knicks. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, great idea it is. So I am heading over down there. I got my Knicks gear on under this, so I will be at Wells Fargo Arena. Everyone, please be nice to the coach. I will be on my best behavior tonight.
Yeah, listen, I am not an advisement of wearing enemy jerseys and hats and the like to a place of ill repute like Philadelphia. This is not the kind of place. I've told you before, when I go to Eagles games at the Link, I never wear opposing colors. And I've learned a long time ago, get the bottomless popcorn and shut your mouth or someone will shut it for you. So I prefer to not wear Knicks clothing for you tonight. Not a good idea.
You may be right. The only good thing I have for me, Ferrall, is Coach. If you guys don't know, Coach Young is about 6'6" and about 240 pounds. So that's the only thing I go for me. But when it's 4-1, I don't think it matters. But I'll be all right.
It does matter when you're 6'6" and 250. Most people know that you will truck them. I would agree with that. But by wearing the Knicks colors and jerseys and hats, you are inviting the other three into the fray. You're inviting trouble. If you were just manning up and you were 6'5", 250, no one is messing with you. But when you start rolling around like, look at me, I got my Knicks stuff on, then they get a pack of wolves to bring you down.
Scotty, you are like, honestly, you're starting to scare me a little bit here. So maybe I will not wear my Knicks gear.
Wear your blazer. You look great. You'll probably have chicks hitting on you. You know, you wear it. I've never understood. You know what? I got to tell you, like, just real quick. Is there anything more painful than watching Spike Lee dress up in all the Knicks gear and think that he's the head coach of the Knicks every day? Like, it's gotten so old. It's like, bro, can you just go to the game and just be normal? Like, I have 300 jerseys, right? Ask Mafia. I have 300 of them. I haven't worn a jersey anywhere in like 20 years because you're just asking for trouble. You're like, here, punch me in the mouth. I mean, listen, it's just people get shot now and stabbed at sporting events, let alone like wearing the other team's colors into a town like Philly. You must be stupid.
Thanks, Ferrall. Do you want me not to go?
Stupid. I'm worried about you. I mean, I got to have you on Saturday at 1 o'clock. I can't have,
I'll be there.
like, you end up with your arm in a sling in a hospital bed with your leg up in the air and a cast. They broke your legs and your arms. All you were doing was rooting for DiVincenzo. They hit a 3 and you ended up in cast.
Let's put it this way. I do have a jacket over my T-shirt. Let's just say that the jacket may be zipped up for the majority of the game.
Thank God. I mean, at least if you do it at the Garden at a college basketball game, there is no college kid that has the stones to take you on. You're too big. But in Philly, they're like, I'm going to take this brother down. I'm going to get 5 of my boys. We'll see how funny it is. All right, let's look at coaches' plays for tonight with the lion's share. We'll start in the Big O. Rumor has it Mickey will be at the game drinking heavily.
Yeah, well, he probably will because this game has been ugly the whole series. But I'm going to take the Magic first half Ferrall minus 2.5. Think about this. Game number 1, down 12. Game number 2, down 14. The Magic have to get off to a good start. They're 22-19 against the spread in first half this year. I think they get off to a good start at a raucous home arena. Game is probably still going to go under 200 points, but give me the Magic first half minus 2.5.
And then the next step would be Okoro.
Yes, Isaac Okoro, low-hanging fruit of the night. Over 4.5 points at minus 145, and Isaac Okoro has gone over 12 of his last 15 games, 3 out of 4 versus the Magic. And because the game is going to be a defensive battle and close, Isaac's got to play pivotal minutes, especially down the stretch. Isaac Okoro, over 4.5 points.
How about that dog, Josh Hart, that nasty rabid dog?
Oh, Ferrall, over 4.5 assists. And it's plus money? Yes, please. I know, folks. I know. He's gone under 4 straight games. But before that, 10 out of 11, he's gone over this number. And I think Josh Hart, if you're Philly now that he's shown he can hit the 3, now they take it away. Punch the gap, get some assists. Josh Hart, over 4.5 assists tonight, plus money.
So, great minds think alike. I said earlier on the show, they showed all these props for Harris that had nothing to do with him filling it up. And I said, why can't I get a prop on this guy filling it up? I love your play with Harris tonight against the Knicks.
I'm going to go Tobias Harris over 15.5 points plus assists. Why? Over 10 of the last 14 games, folks. But how about this? 11 out of 15 and 26 out of 15 last of the home games, but overall for the season, 26 out of 37 Tobias Harris over 15.5 points plus assists. Folks, role players play better at home. He will be better. Tobias Harris over 15.5 points plus assists.
So I hit both spreads last night, both totals over. What did you think of the performance by the Heat shooting the rock?
You think that Spo was going to lose that or get blown out after what happened in game 1? See, here's the thing, folks, that this is coaching. Spo won this game in game 1. Why? He didn't sit his starters the fourth quarter. He played them, Ferrall, and he got them feeling confident. It rolled into game number 2, and they shot the lights out. They made these guys put the ball to the deck. They got it to Porzingis in the post. Great job by Miami. Folks, listen, Boston better get this next one, because if they go down 2-1 and it's Spo, you never know. I still think Boston wins this series and now 6, because I think Spo will find a way to steal one more, but they better not Boston lose the game tomorrow, next game, because if they do, they're in trouble.
So how do the Lakers recover from blowing a 20-point lead in the second half? Now that they're home in Lipstick City at the Crypt tonight, can they finally figure out the Denver Nuggets? It has been 10 in a row, and they are owned by this team that is the defending champs.
Folks, wait till halftime and go right back and do the same thing Coach does every game. Take Denver in the second half. Lakers will jump out early. Denver will hang around, and they'll find a way to steal it. Lakers can't close, and that's because of coaching.
Try to maintain your swerve tonight in Philadelphia, please, so that we can have you here tomorrow and then Saturday and Sunday betting above the rim. I need you here, Coach. Stay focused.
The Lion's Share, presented by BetMGM.
People that bashed him will be eating their words this year.
Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
You're not going to get the Tiger Woods size audience because do you know where they went? They went to Caitlin Clark. That's where those people went.
What?
Those people are now going to the WNBA. Yeah, the fan that only watches what's hot, the fan, the casual who doesn't really like sports but likes to be involved in the in thing. They're watching
cooler discussion.
They're watching Caitlin Clark.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
I mean, they're still the best. They're still the champs. Everyone wants to crown the Celtics the champions, but that's not the way it works. They got to beat them. And, they got to get through the East, which isn't going to be fun to begin with. Everyone thinks it's so automatic.
If it's just Boris is kind of losing his power, if whatever his tactics have been, yeah, move on.
Ferrall Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Davis Maddock, very popular on SportsGrid. You can catch him here on Coast to Coast every day. He's on Early Line all the time, Fantasy Sports Today. He's been known to host soccer shows. He's omnipresent. He's everywhere. We love him. You can follow him on X at Davis Maddock, Mattek. And it's Davis, Davis. Get it straight, son. All right. I want to start with this, and I know you get sick of my baseball talk with you every day, even though you want to talk about the NFL draft at length, which I understand. But I did want to point out Verlander. He walked 4 today, but he didn't give up any runs. He struck out 7. It wasn't really his fault that they gave up 3 runs to the Cubs. They're down 3-1 right now. And with all the Cubs' problems, I'm sure they'll take it in Chicago. The injuries, the pitchers, the Bellinger, and yet they're still winning.
They are. I mean, look, all I was looking for from Justin Verlander today was, could he get over 80, 85 pitches? He did. He got 95 now. He didn't get as deep in this game as you would have wanted with the 4 walks, only gave up 3 hits. It was just taking him a while to get through everyone. He did not have he only threw 61 strikes out of his 95 pitches, which would be below, sort of his regular average. I think he's definitely what the Houston Astros need. They've had, total back end of the rotation guys going pretty much every single night. And I've been saying I'm not worried about the Houston Astros, call me in a month, but they're starting to dig themselves into a pretty big hole. And I suppose they're lucky that no one in the American League right now is like super running away with it.
What do you think of the job Council's doing with the Cubs in his initial, right from the jump, start of that gig? And then Murphy in Milwaukee. It seems to me like the Brewers are running on all cylinders like they always were, even with Council. But he's got him winning in Chicago, too. What do you think of both of them?
To be honest, Scotty, I have a very hard time telling what the impact of a manager is on like a micro level, like a truly game-to-game level. Like, what does Craig Counsell do, right? Because they have their pitching coaches, they have their hitting coaches, they have all their scouts, they have, all the analytics nerds who kind of tell the coaches the relevant information. I think most of what a coach does is just kind of manage the locker room, keep everyone even keel. Obviously has to make tough lineup decisions in game, pinch hit, when to pull pitchers out. But I think he's doing fine. I mean, do I think that having drama about him, coming down the highway from Milwaukee down to Chicago, was any of that worth it? I mean, probably not. Does he need to be the highest paid manager in baseball? Is that money well spent by that organization? Probably not. But yeah, like you said, it doesn't really seem like the Brewers miss him all that much.
How about the White Sox? They're 3-22 now. They blew a 2-run lead today and lost 6-3, something like that, to the Twins. They can't get out of their own way. Is this one of the worst starts you've seen ever?
They really can't get out of their own way. It's like I don't even know what to make of a team that is putting this product on the field. It's just like to have to look at it in an all-encompassing way and have a definitive take after a month. It's just like you're not putting a serious product for me to analyze out there.
They have been outscored 141-56, and they've given up 38 home runs. Minnesota swept the series. All right, let's talk about the NFL draft tonight in Detroit. And why don't we start with some of your favorite picks for tonight in the draft in the Motor City? Why don't you start with Jaden Daniels?
All right, so this one, it goes both ways because it makes an assumption that either J.J. McCarthy or Drake May is going to be picked at 2. Now, if you listen to a lot of NFL insiders, they say this is not going to happen. They say the Commanders are pretty locked in on Jaden Daniels at 2. But then on the other side of the coin, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, a lot of the guys around, who are big newsbreakers in the NFL, they've said no one from Washington is talking. No one is saying anything. They are very tight-lipped. It's all just kind of based on stuff from agents and what other teams are hearing. And to me, I mean, I think Jaden Daniels should probably be like minus 150, minus 200 to be the second pick in the draft. He's not. He's like minus 10,000. So that means that Jaden Daniels has a pretty good chance, by my estimation, to be there at 3. And I actually think Jaden Daniels is a pretty good fit with what the Patriots have going on, because if you look at McCarthy, May, and Daniels outside of Caleb Williams, who is going to be able to create the most offense on their own without having to have, good offensive line, good wide receivers? Like, I think Jaden Daniels can come in and just be pretty solid almost whatever situation he gets thrown into. So I really like these odds, 11-1 with our friends at BetMGM to go 3rd.
So you think he'll go to the Pats?
That's what seems most likely. Well, maybe not second most likely to me right now, if I'm right about Drake May going 2nd to the Commanders.
Wow. And what about Rome Odunze? You have a play on him.
I do. So he's at an interesting spot where he's going to be the 3rd wide receiver off the board. Neighbors is going to go at 6, either the Giants or a team that trades up for him. Rome is going to be there at 8 after Joe Alt gets taken by the Titans or another tackle if the Chargers take him at 5. I think the Falcons, if he's there, pretty good chance for them to take him, but he's also the last real blue chip wide receiver available in this draft. There's a real drop off after the big 3. We've been hearing all these insiders saying all these teams are on the phone. There are lots of trade ups. The Rams are trying to trade up. The Bengals are trying to trade up. The Raiders are trying to trade up. This would be an obvious spot for it and a pretty obvious spot for the Falcons to trade down. So Rome at 8, I really like.
Wow, I still feel like the Falcons are going to draft the first defensive player off the board tonight at 8. What about the Bengals? You have a play with Cincinnati.
I do. This is I'll tell you this. This is what Bengals fans want. I follow a lot of Bengals fans on Twitter, follow them pretty closely, obviously as a big rival to the Kansas City Chiefs. They want Brock Bowers big time. The organization wants him. I think we might see a trade up. Also, I think he might fall. Bengals to draft Bowers 9-1.
Oh, my God. Then I got to deal with this guy Bowers in the AFC North. I hope you're wrong about everything. Enjoy the draft tonight. We'll see you tomorrow, brother. Good stuff.
People that bashed him will be eating their words this year.
Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on SportsGrid.
So I turned it off. I got my sweat done, and I'm leaving. I'm taking my money. I'm going home, and I don't want to talk to you for the rest.
Oh, yes!
There it is.
6-3. Cast the over. The over is hit. The Padres are our heroes.
That's how we end the show. That's how we end the show.
Oh, what? Let's just sign off. Let's just call it a show.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
I think they're looking for a space where they can be comfortable, perhaps make some NIL money in the process, but be better set up long-term as opposed to it being 1 year jumping around.
You want to kind of get your core players that have been here a couple of years, and then go get the high-profile recruit and then supplement at the transfer portal.
Inside the transfer portal, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad, bad, bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Ferrall coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
I said to Carver High, I go, what'd they give Rory for not going to live? 50 grand? He's like, no, you're missing a few zeros. How much is it, Carver High? They gave him what?
It's 50 million. They gave him, not 50 grand, 50 million.
How much they give Tiger? 100 mil?
You have Tiger 100, and he's played like what, 4 events in the last 4 years, and they gave him 100 million for not going. So, yeah, it's pretty. Must be nice. That's for sure. How much they give Scheffler, considering he wins every single week now? And he's the best golfer that they have out there on that tour.
And wait a minute. What did I see a story about his kid? What was he trying for the U.S. Open or something, and he failed or something like that?
Charlie shot an 81 today at a U.S. Open qualifier. So Charlie's trying to, at 16 years old, get himself into the U.S. Open at Pinehurst. Not going so well for him so far. Swing and a miss today for him. All right, we have hockey tonight. 2 games in the NHL playoffs. Let's start at the horse track, where the Islanders, after blowing a 3-0 lead in Raleigh a couple of nights ago, will try to get off the deck and get back into this series. They are going to switch goaltenders, Scotty. They will go from Varlamov to Ilya Sorokin for a Game 3. They are plus 145 now. At home, the Hurricanes are road favorites, minus $1.75. 5.5 is the total. Look, I know you kind of mentioned this earlier. I think they're done in this series. I really do. Could they win tonight and this be the one game that they win in a gentleman's sweep by Carolina? Sure, maybe. But I don't see this series going more than 5 games at this point with how they've played.
Well, I mean, they better win tonight. So, can they go all out and play 60 minutes and hit somebody and, dominate the corners and along the walls, take away the slot, take away the middle of the ice, hit somebody. I don't care if it's high, low. I don't care what they do. They got to play, I think, violence. Dirtier than they have. I think they've been soft. And it's amazing to me how heavily favored Carolina is in this Game 3 and that they're paying that kind of money for the Islanders to wake up and smell the coffee at plus $1.35. I got to take a shot with the Islanders tonight at that price. I'll take that money every time. They're at home They have to win. They're desperate. Get violent. Hit somebody. Win the game. They were up 3-0 and bent over. If they get up 3 goals tonight, they won't lose.
If they get up 3 goals tonight at home, they won't lose. I don't think that they would make the same mistakes twice as they did the other night, but it will be tough for them. That's for sure. The goal and a half is minus 190. Probably would like a little less there to go and play that. Well, I'll go with you, Scotty. Plus 145 for the Islanders tonight. We'll try to get them home
even
at
better.
The horse track. In the other game, Tampa is in a similar situation. They are down 2-0, heading home against the Florida Panthers. These games have been very tight through the first two. Of course, the Panthers beat them in overtime with the Carter Verhaeghe goal the other night in Game 2. Minus 115 for the Lightning, minus 105 for the Panthers, a flat 6, the total at Amalie.
God, I guess I would say, again, the under with these two goalies are so incredible. I got to get Tampa, through the door here. I got to get, I went with them in Game 2. They lose in overtime on the Verhaeghe. I got to get them through the door tonight. I got to take the Lightning at Amalie and get it done. I'd rather take them to win the game on the money line than to deal with that total. I would say high risk under 6, but I'm into the Lightning getting a game here. They can't win every single game they play. Like, this is getting ridiculous. Last year, the Florida Panthers barely lost a game and went to the final. Yeah. All I know is this happening again? They're just never going to lose a game? You got to be kidding me. No. Tampa's got to win a game tonight. They got to win. They got it. Same thing here. Hit somebody. Hurt somebody. This is the playoffs.
Let's go. How about the get him through the door parlay tonight? Islanders and the Lightning to win at plus 358. The get him through the door parlay at plus 358 tonight. The get him through the door. Islanders and Lightning to do that. All right. Oh, Sam Bennett for the Panthers out at least a week with a hand injury. He's a big part of their offense, so that will not be good.
He scored the other night, and now he's out.
He scored the other night.
That's a positive. A guy you're giving up goals to, break his hand. That's how you win. Get rid of him. Do it again tonight.
Break his hand and get him out of the
hand.
lineup. Get Verhaeghe. Go get
I'm not kidding.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad, bad, bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
To the 2024 Stanley Cup odds, the Hurricanes remain the favorite, followed by the Panthers and the Rangers. Interesting that they all are coming from the similar side of the bracket.
While the Oilers have the top-end talent, I still don't think they have enough depth, and Stuart Skinner does not scare me in depth. So I would say a long series from the Oilers and the Kings, and ultimately I think the Stars are the ones coming out of the West for the Stanley Cup.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Philadelphia 76ers, who are the second best team in this Eastern Conference by a mile when Joel Embiid is healthy. That's just what they are. So now, if Giannis isn't available, the Bucks would be dogs in the series.
He ain't sleeping on that air mattress anymore. He's got a regular king-size bed, a Posturepedic, whatever they call it, a Sealy's, whatever they do, those things. He ready to roll. Dominating tonight.
Game time decisions, only